Where were you when you found out about Owen?
I was actually on a plane flying to do the Jay Leno show, which I never did do, and just found out on the plane about Owen, which was really hard. You don't ever want to find out about a tragedy on an airplane. Trust me on that one.
Well, there's never, ever a good time to find out absolutely horrible news like that. But as it turns out, you had to go to the front of the airplane and use the airplane phone to find out and to have this conversation in front of the other passengers. I mean, I can't imagine a worse way of finding out something like that.
Oh, and there's nowhere to go. I mean, I found out, actually there was like one or two people up in first class when I got the message, and every phone on the flight I was on, none of them worked. And the one phone that did worked by the one passenger that was on there. And of course, I had to find all this stuff out right with this passenger beside me, who really didn't know what the heck I was doing. But it was really hard. Nowhere to go. You can't go pace or even think, or you can't escape even. Not that you ever can, but yeah, that was really hard.
What about the stunt itself? Owen did not want to do that stunt. In fact, he told his wife he was not going to do it.
Yeah, Owen was a really very careful, smart, cautious guy. He left the house saying he definitely would not do it, and sort of let Martha's worst fears sort of rest, because she was really uncomfortable with him doing it at all. But wrestling is one of those things where, you know, they can put such pressure on you, you know, because they can put a title on you. He was going to win the Intercontinental title on that day, which would have been a big sort of boon to his career and all that. I don't really know what made him change his mind, but I know that there's a lot of subtle force put on you all the time, and there's this, and you can sort of go back a few years earlier to what happened to me in Montreal. When you don't play by their rules, they will do everything they can to destroy you. And no one knows Owen better than, say, I do, I don't think, in my family. And I speak as well or best for Owen when I say that Owen would not have wanted the show to go on. I don't think, if you look at anyone with any common sense in their family, no one would want the show to go on. And I think if Vince McMahon had dropped Shane McMahon from the ceiling and he splatted on the mat, I don't think he would have scraped him off the mat and sent the next match out. I actually know firsthand from the wrestlers involved that they wheeled my dead brother right past all the wrestlers, and actually pushed wrestlers out the door and said, "Go, go, go, you're on." And I think that is really insensitive and really cold. And of all people on this planet, that Vince McMahon has no right to speak for my dead brother Owen.
Bret, I don't think that Owen would want that show to go on. Frankly, I don't think anybody in the world besides Vince McMahon would want that show to go on. How cold-blooded was that decision to continue with that pay-per-view event?
Well, there's a man that would do anything for $1. The world's greatest car salesman, Vince McMahon, will do anything for $1. And he's a very spiteful, vengeful, you talk about vendettas. This man made promises to me, made promises to my family that unfortunately certain ones accepted, and I think, you know, sold out our dead brother kind of thing. But this man will do anything. He offered me the world the day before the funeral, and 4 days later forgot every bit of it. I know since it happened, there's never been a day that I don't think about him, you know, 100 times a day. And it's just one of those things. I guess everyone has a tragedy in their life they have to deal with. But for me, you know, my whole life was tied in with wrestling, and the death was tied in with wrestling, and I sometimes fear that I'll always be sort of tied in with it myself, you know, which is sort of why I came back in the last year to WCW and tried to sort of write one more chapter rather than always be remembered as the brother of the guy that got killed in the ring. He wanted to meet me, and I said, I'll meet you in a park where I used to ride my bike, and you can tell me whatever it is you want to tell me. One of the things I was coached on by the lawyers that were yet to be actually hired, but were almost there. They said, whatever you do, don't talk about the case. And so when I did meet Vince McMahon, he tried to switch he didn't want me to meet him in the park. He wanted me to meet him in a hotel. And I found out after that he had police stationed all around this park, and I guess he was worried that I was going to, you know, kill him or something. But
yeah, but the police were for you, Bret. You said they were for you, right?
Well, I only found out about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, that the police were all there, and they were all, I never did see a policeman, but I guess they were watching and to make sure I didn't try anything. But I was so beyond me. I said, when they actually talked about canceling the meeting, I said, or moving the meeting from the park to a hotel room. And they told me the reason why, that he was worried that I was going to kill him. It's amazing what kind of a devious, sick psychopath this guy really is. Like I say, I wake up in the morning every day and I feel totally fine with who I am as a person, but I can't imagine what it'd be like waking up every day and looking in the mirror and being Vince McMahon.
The fact that you've lost a brother and a couple of siblings have actually gone to your parents' house, taken documents, given them to Vince McMahon's legal team, I mean, how do you reconcile it with yourself?
You know, all I can do is look at myself. I wake up every day and I look in the mirror, and whether it's a couple of my sisters or whether it's Vince McMahon with his $1 billion that he made off wrestling, the fact is, I wake up in the morning, I look in the mirror, and I'm happy with who I am. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I've achieved. I really don't have any regrets about how I carry myself, and I'm a firm believer in what goes around comes around. There was a time when the wrestlers we used to call the wrestling fans marks. You know, they were the fans, and the wrestlers were in on sort of the whole, the inside of wrestling kind of thing. And I think it's really shifted completely the other way around. It's the wrestling fans that know what's going on in wrestling, but the wrestlers themselves don't. They're the marks. The wrestlers are out there hurting themselves for real now, and beating themselves to death almost. And it's switched, and you know, I don't know if there's any art form in bashing somebody over the head with a chair, or you know, if you got big boobs and you can drop your pants in a wrestling ring, you get a high rating kind of thing. That's not what I loved about wrestling.
And everything you have gone through, everything your family has gone through, you still have positive recollections about your time in the ring, about wrestling. You have good memories despite all this.
Well, I was the best. I really was. I think I was the best there is and the best there was, and at this point, the best there ever will be.